right, guys, I am back and happy to report in full health, it appears. So if you follow the channel, you know that I got a bit of a cancer scare recently with a malignant tumor that was surgically removed. But I did get my PET scan afterwards. It shows no evidence of any metastasization. So I do believe that I'm free and clear and dodged a bullet on this one. Pretty much I've just got to get scans twice a year for the next 3 years. And then after 3 years, they determine I'm at no more risk than anyone in the normal population. So thanks for all your well wishes, but I'm doing fine. Just took a little bite out of me, but I'm doing absolutely perfectly fine. So we're going to get back into it now that I'm recovered. And one of the things that we don't do very much on this channel is non-engine performance related or electrical or computer related diagnostics. Today we're going to look at a really common suspension issue here. And this is going to be a 2017 Nissan Pathfinder where the owner states that there's a lot of vibration in the steering wheel when they brake at higher speeds, and it really shakes the wheel quite a bit. At lower speeds, they don't really feel anything. They don't feel pulsation in the brake pedal, they feel it in the steering wheel. So I already have a really good idea where we're going to go with this, but we're going to do a little bit more of a general overview as well to cover different variables that can also cause similar type of symptoms. So let's go take a look. All right, a lot of variables that can cause that, but with the particular description of the symptom, and in Colorado here, obviously we've got a lot of mountains and hills and things. Very common thing that you're coming down the mountain, you're at like 60, 65 miles an hour, you barely touch the brakes just to slow down a little bit and the steering wheel starts vibrating. I believe I know what the problem is going to be, but what we're going to do is we're going to start off with simple stuff here because we've still got the wheel on the vehicle. Now in another video, it may be on my website, we talk about different suspension types with loaded and follower ball joints and things. On this particular McPherson strut model, we are going to be able to just grab the tires without having to unload the suspension and be able to test for ball joint wear. So we're going to grab at 12 o'clock and 6 o'clock, we're going to rock this wheel, and if you feel any movement at all with the wheel, sometimes you'll even hear a little bit of clicking, but if you feel any play in there at all, almost guaranteed that's going to be your ball joints that are bad. Now we can also grab the wheel at 3 o'clock and 9 o'clock and do this way. Now, of course, if we do this way, we're going to be moving the entire steering system, so you're not really trying to move it a whole bunch here. You're just trying to move it a little bit, just rock it until you feel resistance with the steering system. You're trying to be independent of the steering system here. Rock this back and forth. If you feel any play that is not related with the steering wheel, you may want to have somebody hold the steering wheel in position, for example, or look at the steering wheel to make sure it's not moving at all. But we're not doing this. That doesn't help. We're just barely moving till we feel resistance. Again, if there is any play at all in there, if you have play in this direction, grabbing 3 o'clock and 9 o'clock, most likely that is going to be associated with your tie rod ends, either inner or outer or both. All right. Now, I don't suspect that we have a problem with ball joints or tie rod ends because I don't feel any play either direction. Now, remember, we've got to check the other wheel as well. And let's go ahead and do that, and then we've got to remove the wheel. All right, now with the wheel out of the way, we can get a little bit of light in here. We can go to where I suspect this particular problem is going to be based on that exact description here. And that's going to be a loose stabilizer bar here, sometimes called a sway bar. I call it a stabilizer bar. But what we're going to do is we're going to, let me position the camera here a little bit. All right, we're going to grab this stabilizer bar, and we can see what our problem is here. If we look, if I grab the stabilizer bar, pull it in and out, just with my hand, I'm able to move this stabilizer bar in and out of the bushing. If we look right in here, let's see if we can get a better angle. There we go. We can see that it just slides right in and out of that bushing. Now, this is a little bit of an extreme example here. I'm able to move this just with my hand. Very typically, these won't be worn enough that you can just move this with your hand like that. Very often you may try this and you will find that it doesn't move at all. And that's just simply because it's a whole different story when you've got a 4,000-pound car that's trying to move this thing in and out of place versus you just doing it with your hand. One other thing we can do, if we look really careful here, you see where there's a really clean, shiny spot on the bar just before it enters the bushing. If you are not able to move the bar, you can still look, and if you see those kind of shiny spots where it's obvious that this has been rubbing in and out of the bushing, get you a better angle of it there. Obviously, that's been rubbing in and out of that bushing, creating that kind of shiny spot there right by the bushing. That is also evidence that that has been moving in and out of that bushing, even if you're not able to do that yourself. So replacing those bushings is definitely going to fix this issue. Now, if we look here, we see that that stabilizer bar is connected with stabilizer bar end links here. And again, I can move this in and out. We can see if this is happening a million times a minute, especially during braking, you're going to wear out these ball joints on here. Now, very typically, you'll be able to move these and there's not really a problem so much. This one also has a little bit of up and down movement, just a bit. Also up at the top here, if we follow it, it's actually really loose up at the top here. So to really fix this properly, we also, besides replacing those stabilizer bar bushings, we need to also replace these end links as well. As far as the repair, super basic, no skill needed here. We've just got 2 bolts. The bushing itself is like a clamshell, and we'll just take that apart and just show you, but you can clearly see. You remove 2 bolts, you replace the bushing, bolt it back in place. Now these end links, there's a little trick that I'll show you for these. This design is pretty friendly. We've got a backup nut here. Typically there isn't one, and when you go to undo your nut here to obviously remove the end link, it's just going to spin and spin and spin and spin inside of the joint. And I'll show you a little trick for if you've got that design, how to easily take care of that. We also don't want to make any assumptions here that that's all that's wrong. We could also have some contributing factor with warpage on our rotors here. So what we're going to do is check for runout on the rotors here. Now this rotor is pretty much welded onto the hub, but if you do this and the rotor is loose, of course, if you've got any play in the rotor here, you're going to be wobbling your dial indicator a whole bunch. So you may have to go ahead and fasten on a couple of lugs here. I don't need to do this on this particular car. That rotor is pretty much stuck on there. And what we're going to do is turn the rotor here and we're going to look for runout. And as you can see running through here, we have like literally no runout on this rotor. Now we want to check the other side just to be sure as well. I can tell you I've already done that. The only issue that I'm finding with this car is that sway bar. Now, one other tip here. And that tip is most vehicles also have another stabilizer bar on the rear of the vehicle. Very typically, you will have a complaint of a clunking sound on the rear of the vehicle when going over the slightest little bumps. There's just kind of like a little clunking, almost vibration kind of sound. A lot of people replace the shocks for this and everything, but actually it's usually that stabilizer bar on the rear. Let's take a look. All right, now the same things apply here. We can have loose ball joints like the ball joint up there. Notice this is a different suspension design. This is a loaded design here on this particular design as mentioned in my other video. We would on this one have to unload the suspension by putting a jack under the lower control arm to take the weight off of the suspension, basically compressing that spring. And then we can determine any loose components like the ball joints. There's also a sway bar link right here, which means there's going to be a sway bar. All right, if we look, this sway bar won't even budge at all. This is really, really solid here. This car does not have the complaint that I mentioned, by the way. But as we can see, that connects into this sway bar. So if we look, we've got our sway bar. Here's our bushings here. If we look, there's no clean spot. There's no evidence that this has been moving in and out of the bushing. If I grab the sway bar, I cannot move that sway bar at all. I can bang on it. Sometimes I'll use a plastic hammer, and that sway bar is not moving in and out of the bushing anything at all. But if there is movement in that bushing, very often that's going to be the source of your clunking sound. And again, replacing those bushings and the end links would be advised in that case. All right, and final tip here. What's most likely going to happen to you when you try to remove the nut for the stabilizer bar end link is this. Even with an impact, we see we just free spin, and that nut isn't moving at all because the joint is so loose. Now this particular design, as we see, has lots of options for this. One of them is this design lets us use an Allen socket here. So we could just get a wrench on there. You can see that if we move the nut, the whole thing just spins, but we can go ahead and lock that in with this Allen, and we can loosen it up this way. Also, we saw this particular design of end link has a very handy backup nut on it, so we could just use 2 wrenches here. Most of the time you won't have either of these options. So the best tool that I've ever found for this, these guys right here, these are called parrot nose pliers. And if you don't have a backup nut there, it's just a smooth surface there. You can clamp these on like that. Even if you have the Allen socket option like these do, this is still quicker. Just clamp that around your backup there, and there you go. Easy as that. All right, I could probably, if I tried hard enough, just pull this right out of the ball joint with my hands. This is really, really worn here. The other thing to keep in mind is sometimes these are directional, top to bottom and side of the car to side of the car. So make sure you check your parts accordingly and that you don't install these backwards either way. All right, let's get a look at our parts here. First of all, you can just pull the ball joint right out of this sway bar link right here. I just wanted to show you a couple things to be careful of. First of all, your new link, very often, these are permanently greased links, but very often they will have grease fittings that you have to attach to them. So you want to make sure you don't throw away your grease fittings by accident. The other thing is mentioned, very easy to overlook, but sometimes these are directional right here. So if we look here, this is the correct one. There is, it's very hard to tell, I believe, but there is a little bit of a twist to this. You can see this comes off at a little bit of an angle. So if we lay this here, that matches perfectly like that. If we get the stabilizer bar link for the other side, you'll see they don't match up exactly like that. So you want to really pay attention to that. Otherwise, you're going to find the vehicle's not going to be very well aligned when you're done. You can see also this extremely loose play here versus the new one that I can't even budge. And then, of course, our bushing here, it's just a little clamshell. I mean, it takes just a few minutes to replace this. Just 2 bolts there, replace your new bushing, secure it in. You'll be able to see the marks from the old bushing to make sure your stabilizer bar is centered. Easy, easy, easy. All right, guys. Well, I was unable to get bushings to replace this thing. Obviously, showing the final fix, I just wouldn't be able to wobble the stabilizer bar anymore. So I'll have to finish this up this afternoon, but I think we've learned everything we can from this particular video. So thanks for watching. Also, a big thank you to all of you guys who sent me good wishes, and I'm not religious, but the prayers definitely didn't hurt. Knowing you guys had me in your thoughts definitely was a good thing during this time while I recovered. So I really wanted to tell you guys my appreciation for that. You guys over on my website, we will be coming up with some new paid channel content pretty soon now that I'm back into things. So good health to all you guys. I hope you found this helpful. We will see you again next time. I wasn't so confident to say that the last time I was on camera. We'll catch you again later.